Hey there, welcome back to another video for MWS Draw. My name is Mara and this is my day number 23 for Inktober, and the word is love. And I had a hard time with this one, to be honest. But you would think the word love would be an easy thing to find something to draw about, but there's so many things you can think about when you think of the word love. I mean, it could be loving another person, loving your pet, loving, your environment, loving your parents. There's so many different types of love in the world that I had a hard time figuring out what to draw. And the one thing that stuck out in my mind were my kids, because they're always at the forefront of my mind whenever I'm doing anything. And the one thing I thought about were those early days when I first had my first son, because your body changes mentally, you're different, you have sometimes depression, postpartum depression, and you put your body through so much stress to bring this perfect little angel into the world. And at the end of the day, when you bring your baby home and you look in the mirror, you don't feel like yourself, and yet at the same time, you wouldn't have it any other way, because it brought you this little baby that you love more than yourself, and that's where the problem lies. Because as a mom, I find myself putting my kids and my family before even myself, when it comes to things I love doing to keep me happy. But I always have to remember that, I brought this child into the world, and it's not his fault that I'm feeling this way, and he's just being him, and I have to make sure that I take care of him. And when I was drawing this, I wanted to portray the kinds of feelings I was feeling when he first came home. I was wearing these hospital diapers, and those are things that they don't tell you when you have a baby, that when you, after the baby comes, you'll be bleeding for a long while, at least a week or so. And it's a really heavy bleeding. So you wear this diaper and you're totally stretched down there, and it's painful. Sometimes there's stitches. I had stitches, and those are painful as well. So you're waddling around like an old person wearing a diaper, when you think, why am I wearing the diaper? The baby's supposed to be wearing a diaper, right? So it really humbles you, and also shows, again, how much a woman puts her body through to bring this baby into the world. It's not easy, and that was the kind of love I was trying to portray in this picture. And then as I was drawing it, I was really into the idea of it, but at the same time, I was having a hard time figuring out how to portray this image. And so I decided on putting a woman standing in front of a mirror, looking at herself as well as her baby, and looking at him with love, but also for herself, because she's proud of herself for, going through all that, and looking at herself and seeing that, it looks bad now, but she knows it's okay because the baby is healthy and the baby's here. But as I was drawing it, I decided to use cross-hatching and inking on this one because I wanted to change it up a bit and get away from color a little. But it started to feel very dark, almost sad and scary, when I was drawing it, because I guess the hatching makes it look so dark. And the woman in this scene is actually in the dark, because when you have a newborn, you obviously don't want the light blaring on you. And then they wake up constantly in the middle of the night for feeding, changings, and stuff like that. So, you're tired. And so I put little bags under her eyes. It's late at night. There's a dim light on. So most of her body is in shadow, while the light is on her other side, her left side. But as I was drawing it, things seemed to get really, really dark. And I was kind of confused as to how to make it look like she was in shadow without making her completely black, because, obviously if it were a real picture, she would be black because the shadow would be on her, I mean, the light would be on her left where the shadow is in the forefront of the picture. But I was trying to make it so it was a kind of happy scene, but it was turning out to be a little darker than I had anticipated. And at this point, I was really starting to hate the drawing. Most of the drawings start off in an ugly stage and it gets better as things get along. And I felt like this drawing stayed in the ugly stage for a super long time. I was not happy with it. I actually didn't want to even film it to begin with. So in the beginning, if you notice, the video started where I had started inking her in already halfway through. And then I thought, well, maybe I should film this, because I wanted to see the progression for my own sake of how this was going to turn out. Because not only does this video show how I did it, but it also helps me look at how I rendered some of these things and see where I can improve myself. So I wanted to film it. And yeah, so as I'm filming it right now, I'm looking at it thinking, I hate it. I didn't know how to fix it. So I just started working on the background thinking maybe if she wasn't just floating in, mid-air, maybe it would start to look better and make her feel like more grounded instead of just, standing there. And then also the mirror kind of made it look a little creepy after I started drawing it. It almost looked like a haunted house. Like my husband said, wow, it looks kind of scary. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't know how to fix it. So, but the idea behind it was to show the sacrifice of a mother bringing her child into the world and all the things she goes through. So for example, you see the diaper, like I mentioned, and your stomach becomes stretched out, or you gain a lot of weight during pregnancy. Where I gained a lot of weight was in my belly, so I had a lot of stretch marks and lots of extra skin along my belly, and you stay pretty swollen for a while after you give birth. Well, at least I did. So it didn't go down for at least 2 to 3 weeks or get sort of back to normal. So it was kind of depressing looking in the mirror every day thinking, wow, I gave birth, but I still look like I'm pregnant. And so here I started inking in the background, and it started to look really dark again, almost scary. So I thought maybe if I added a little warmth with some color, like just a single color, I wasn't going to ink the whole thing in. And so it kind of helped, where it brought a little bit of happiness and not so stark depression in this picture. I'm not trying to put down this picture. It did turn out kind of nice, but at the same time, I still am not happy with it. It was too dark, too much ink, too much lines, but I didn't know how to portray it any other way. And so I decided, instead of letting it go, I decided to draw another picture of a woman and her son. But the son is a little older, and see how I had time to at least get some semblance of normalcy. But when you look at the picture side by side, because they're so contrastingly different, it's almost like it's showing, night and day, Yeah, it was hard in the beginning, but it gets easier, as things go along. I wanted these two pictures side by side to portray that things do get better. It may seem dark in the beginning, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And when you come out, it's a wonderful place to be with your family. They're happy and healthy and together. And that's the main thing. So I hope you liked my speed drawing of this Inktober for the word love. And until next time, keep on drawing. Bye.